And a few years back, the United States also sold Kiss-class destroyers to Taiwan that proved to be very important in Taiwan's war games for Taiwan's own defense. And there are also training programs that has been in existence for quite a while, and they are valued by both the United States and Taiwan. And the track record of the DPP, again, which is the political party that I'm from, has been very strong on the defense of Taiwan, and we want to continue to express a view that Taiwan needs very strong defense, and Taiwan wants to maintain close defense relations with the United States so that Taiwan can safeguard itself, Taiwan can defend itself, and we will continue to support any program, and I can speak on behalf of the DPP on this because there's no exception on this. If there's going to be any program raised by the current KMT government on Taiwan's defense, that is going to be important for Taiwan's defense, we'll support those programs, and we will not boycott any of the programs raised by the KMT government. And the KMT government also issued a QDR just a couple of weeks ago. And if you look at the reaction from the DPP side, we only quarrel about the merits of all volunteer recruitment. We don't quarrel about the need for Taiwan to defend itself. But there's also worries on Taiwan part that may not be in the United States' interest, that may not be in Taiwan's interest, and that may not be in line with the Taiwan Relations Act. For example, we feel that the Taiwan's democracy may be suffer from some dents or some problems. For example, in the recent cases against the DPP officials, former DPP officials, some of the procedures may not be fair. For example, the informations continue to leak to the press where they are supposed to remain classified, and change of judge and unnecessary handcuffing and unnecessary detention. And I just mentioned one specific case. There was a one county magistrate from Indian County. She was dragged away from her home 6 o'clock in the morning, and we thought that was happening during the martial law period, and that shouldn't happen during the democracy. And that is something that we feel worried. And if you look at the judicial cases in recent months, there's a specific targeting against the DPP officials, and we don't think that should be handled like that. And another thing that we worry is that Taiwan's economy may be becoming too dependent on China, and that would make China lose its economic independence. For example, the talk in Taiwan nowadays is that, if there's any problem associated with Taiwan's economy or economic performance, and then the government will say, okay, we need to go more for China. And the topic of the talks in in Taiwan is China, rather than the United States. And for anyone who has served in the Ministry of Affairs Council, 71% or more of investment going to China, or a substantial percentage of trade with the United States may be too high for Taiwan, especially when this country is still having a high degree of hostility toward Taiwan and still threatening to use military force against Taiwan. So we need to be a bit more careful in this regard. And we think that one way for doing it is for Taiwan to strengthen its economic relations with the United States. And another thing that we worry is Taiwan's sovereignty, and we feel that Taiwan's sovereignty may be eroded. The status quo, from my own perspective, is that Taiwan and China are separated. We are not ruled by China, and China doesn't have any jurisdiction over Taiwan. And we have president, we have parliament, and we have military, and we have capacity to issue visa, things like that. So all these indicators show that Taiwan is different from China, and Taiwan is, in effect, de facto independent, and we feel that this should be the status quo because this is the status quo. But if you look at current Taiwan government's handling of the cross-strait relations and the talks of the top-level government officials make it sound like Taiwan is still in civil war with China, and that may not be the best way in characterizing the cross-strait relations. And anti-secession law by China is still there, as mentioned by Peter a little bit earlier. And the agreements reached with China in November last year contain something that I personally feel worried a lot, because we opened up domestic airports, which is civil and military co-used airport for the direct flight in between the two sides, and that might be a compromise on Taiwan's sovereignty as well. And on December 31st last year, Hu Jintao made his 6 appointments, a 6-point statement, and in that 6-point statement, he laid out all the strategies in dealing with Taiwan, especially on those political issues. He set out the period before the unification and end of hostility, peace agreement, confidence building measures, all these kinds of things. These are political issues, and he also talked about Taiwan's international participation. And I think if we are going to get into the political negotiation with China, which is fine with us, but we need to be very careful to make sure that Taiwan is not paying a price that we are not able to get back in the future. And there's one issue that we feel particularly strong. That is the World Health Organization. Taiwan has been excluded from international participation ever since we withdrew from the UN in 1971. But if you look at the regulations of the World Health Organization, one of the ways to become a World Health Organization observer is Taiwan applies for a membership. And before Taiwan becomes a member, the WHO can invite Taiwan to become an observer in the WHA, in the World Health Assembly. And another way to do it is Taiwan pass an international health law so that the World Health Organization can invite Taiwan to become an observer. And there's yet another way, that is Taiwan is part of another country's territory, and that host country is making an application on Taiwan's behalf. And that is what we worry, because Taiwan does not apply for membership this year, and Taiwan does not pass the international health law. And these make us worry that if Taiwan becomes an observer because of China's help, especially with regard to the WHO China MOU signed in 2005, Taiwan might be in one situation that we feel that Taiwan should not be in. And the last worry we have is Taiwan's security may be at stake because China has rapid military deployment and modernization targeted against Taiwan. And its lack of transparency, and this is not consistent with the current trend of rapprochement in between Taiwan and China. And China's motivation is not clear at all, and China has not renounced the use of force, and China also has its anti-secession law, which specifies that it can use non-peaceful means against Taiwan. And China continues to have irredentist claim over Taiwan, and I think these are all very dangerous. And under all these circumstances of Taiwan's worry, what we hope for from the United States in accordance with the Taiwan Relations Act is that the first to be wary of the possible violation of human rights and violation of judicial fairness. And we also hope that Taiwan and the United States can enter into free trade agreement negotiations. And that is very important for Taiwan to strengthen its economic relations with the United States so that Taiwan is not over-dependent on China's economy. And the third is continue to support Taiwan's international participation, particularly the WHO. And we feel that if there's going to be stronger international support for Taiwan's international participation, particularly WHO, it can certainly offset China's way of putting Taiwan as part of China. And the fourth area to answer our worry is to continue to provide Taiwan with weapon systems that would enhance Taiwan's security. Shirley talked a little bit earlier about the sale of F-16s. And the MND officials in Taiwan has recently talked about resending the letter of request on the F-16s. And Taiwan military officials also talked about the need for procuring F-35s. And we hope that the United States will sell Taiwan all these advanced defense articles that Taiwan needs for its own defense. And of course, PAC-3 was only partially sold to Taiwan. We hope that in the future, there can be more PAC-3s to be sold to Taiwan because Taiwan faces tremendous ballistic missile threat from China. And of course, not in addition to the land-based PAC-3, anti-missile system, we also need sea-based missile defense systems. And I think in the future, if the Ministry of National Defense in Taiwan raise the request for the Aegis-equipped Arleigh destroyers, we hope the United States can also agree to sell Taiwan those weapon systems. And I think Taiwan's better defense is also in the interest of the United States. And I'll stop here. Thank you.